This is KFUG Community Square, where we hold the mic and you share your perspective. Well, thanks for coming down. We are up, I guess.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It is. This is a unique opportunity for people up here and
Right.
my organization in particular, and the shop. Rarely do we see a congressional candidate, reach out. It is greatly appreciated.
When I was investigating if I was even going to run, I went to Modoc first, Mount Tourist, because they just got yanked into this district, and they usually vote Republican. Democrats at Prop 50 really kind of messed them up. So I went out just to hear them first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know that Colby Smart was running for no party down in Humboldt, but he had to drop out because of family issues. And he was one that said, hey, to Huffman, please come up to the northern counties because they're being ignored. So that was his message, and I took that to heart and came up here to see everybody. I mean, I've been to Siskiyou, Mount Shasta City. I just went up there because I heard about a coffee that the mayor was growing. I just showed up and listened. I didn't do anything and hopefully I'm going to help them with an issue if I can. But they didn't expect me, so they didn't have any questions for me.
Right. Yeah. So I do have questions.
Great.
I've collaborated with my superiors to bring forth some questions, and the beginning portion of this interview is going to be very political.
Okay.
To be completely straight with you. After that, I'm going to be asking you questions about your books.
Okay.
I'm going to nail you to the wall.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, to start, well, why are you choosing to run for Congress now and not anytime sooner?
Well, that's a deep question. Basically, I remember back in, I don't know if it was 2015, 2016, I used to watch The Daily Show a lot. And they'd be telling me how terrible the world was, but how making fun of everybody. But then Colbert and Jon Stewart went to the National Mall, and basically the message I got from them was, this is as far as we can take you. We can sit on the sidelines and tell you what's happening, how terrible it is, make fun of it, make you feel light about it, but this is as far as we can go. And I had this epiphany. Well, I'm just been sitting on the couch watching this train wreck happen. I'm like the two old guys from the Muppets, just bitching about the Muppet Show, but not helping Kermit. So I started thinking about it, but not really doing. I didn't know what to do. You just because you think, oh, I can't be me up there in Congress. That can't be me, anywhere. You don't think that. But I have had public service, special ed teacher, quarantine public health officer at the border in Minneapolis. I've been a school bus driver. I've been a postal carrier, and my last job was actually a clinical engineer. So I have a lot of experience reading federal regulations and implementing them. So when COVID hit and I lost my job, then I sat down and just started writing ideas out for bills that I thought, and looking at the issues in California, I thought originally I was going to try to go to the district out in Lodi because they've been split in 4 ways, but then I realized I should just stay in my own. I'm from Marin, so I just stay in my own CA2 district. But then AI hit, and I worked for 2 years as a training AI algorithm that is used on iPhones and iPads to determine blood loss in patients. So I was familiar with AI and how to train it. How this is a tool. It's not this HAL 9000 thing I think people are really scared of. It can be if it's misused by people, but it is a tool. I reckon it like at one time carpenters had hammers, then we invented the pneumatic hammer. Carpenter still uses the pneumatic hammer, but it makes their job easier. So I earned 2 certifications in prompt engineering. So that helps me write these bills. That's why, but my goal is I know that when I get elected, there's a whole cadre of lawyers that will help Congress people draft bills. So I'm not just giving an AI hallucinated bills to people. They're going to people with actual experience to help me with that. But they got my ideas on paper. That's why I have all these bills I'm doing.
Gotcha.
But so I really just I went out to Alturas back in December 3rd to the 5th, I think it was, just to find out what are the needs? Am I at least what I've been building on my website, does it actually apply?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm thinking, I'm going up against this incumbent. He's a environmental lawyer. He's been there since 2015 or 2016. He's been there for a long time. He's done things like he removed the hydroelectric dams from the Klamath River. Huffman is his name, which is a good thing. They weren't, but anyway, I'll have some things to say about that. I'm like, well, what can I do? And I know there's a huge issue with fires, huge issue with overgrowth in the forests. And there's a huge, not in locally where I'm in Marin, but there's an issue, at least in the Central Valley and in America in general, with the high volume livestock waste. It can get, if it just sits there, it gets into the water table. Well, I figured, why can't we just take the forest slash that builds up, take it out, mulch it up, and mix it with the waste, and you get high quality compost. If you include the tribal sacred burning, I just don't know if I haven't met with any tribes yet. So but they can, if they burn it down to biochar, that's even better to add. So I want to basically turn America into a huge organic farm, because we got to get off the fertilizer, and just build up our topsoil. But if we can start it here, California District 2 is a microcosm of America, and if we can achieve things here, we can really set example for the rest of our country. And as a congressperson, anything I do is going to affect the whole country, not just California District 2. So those are my goals. I mean, we're hardworking, intelligent people here in the CA2, and I think we can really, with the right leverage, help change America for the better.
Yeah.
Bit of a long story, but that's how.
Right.
I
No, I mean that totally makes sense. I'm curious, what kind of showing do you expect to make in this race?
My first interview was with the Point Reyes Light, which is there's a whole other issue I started fighting for there. And basically, he called me Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'm very idealistic. I probably don't have much of a chance, but you got to try. You got to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, really?
Yeah.
I can't afford a pollster. I'm not taking any donations because of the food crisis right now. I'm just saying, hey, look, you guys need your money for food. Don't donate to me. So most of my money has been spent on just getting my candidate statement on all the county ballot pamphlets. I couldn't afford Humboldt and Sonoma, so I had to not do Humboldt. But that's why I'm down there working as much as I can to get my name out there. And League of Women Voters offers the free 411 vote 411, which I'm going to put my candidate statement on that. So, and I think it's pretty unique to California. They don't do it much else. So I'm going to use that to get my word out. I open up to you. I really was impressed by your article, and because the poor triplicate doesn't look like it's here right now. It was, and then it's gone.
Yeah, the triplicate has an interesting history, and right now, especially, it is in an interesting place. But I'm not going to speak on them. I'm not gonna speak on them. I am curious though. Where did you get your campaign funding?
Me.
Okay,
I was a clinical engineer working for, about $105,000 a year down in Fremont, California. But that job ended. I saved part of my severance pay for this venture, $5,000 of it, maybe a bit more. Probably a bit. I'm figuring out my finances right now. And tonight I'll be submitting it. And then I got a break on my. I got a good tax return this year, and so I put that into it. And then, my father's passing on, and he's given me some money, but I'm keeping that. Like, it's in an account that we share for taking care of him. So I'm not. I dipped in, I think, 2,000 from it. I'm not sure exactly, but that's where I got the money from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I guess, are there any other key issues that you're running on, like aside from the livestock waste and like the fire and overgrowth kind of platform that you mentioned earlier?
Locally, I'd like to help rebuild the fisheries. One of my ideas, all my bills have like a 7 to 10 year sunset, because I don't want people to be stuck with my bad ideas. So I also do pay as you go. I try not to do any taxing coming from the general fund. I want it to. So one of my ideas is to set up like a I don't know, either a small business loan or grants funding to start helping pay local fishermen or just locals to dive on these urchins, get the nutrient-starved ones out, keep the ones that are surviving, and replant. Because I've seen like I think Chico or there's some other institutes working on. They have a strain of heat-resistant bull kelp. Maybe try to replant that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some seaweed. These are all just, again, they could just be in the works. They're not really necessarily fully researched yet. But these are if we can replant the bull kelp, bring the fisheries back. Also, there's some seaweed that has shown that it mitigates the methane gas that the cattle produce. So if we can put that in the feed, that's still, I think, up there with, is it good, is it bad? But it's still up. There's these ideas out there. And one thing I know, back in, was it 93, 94, I was living on my father's boat in Auckland, New Zealand, and I worked as just a door-to-door donation builder for a thing called Earth Trust, I think it was. And they were raising money because in New Zealand they found out they had this one island that was a sanctuary, and the fish just came back like way more like abundantly than they expected. So they were raising money to do a complete island, both islands, North Island, South Island, coastal, like just take the tenure of the now. What do we have now, and what areas can we protect to bring the seafood back, restore it. And we can do the same here if we really put our minds to it. Mm-hmm. So that's another issue I have, is just rebuilding the fisheries, because we have to cope with, climate change and the warming of the oceans. And then we have another issue. I'm looking into the issue of sea level rise. Like locally, Sausalito is really impacted. The problem is, if one community in the bay is really good, has the money, and they put up all these barriers, and they just push the water into another community. It's like a big bathtub. So it has to be a California-wide plan. It can't just be local counties doing it. They have to be in coordination. And if we can do that, we can help the eastern seaboard with the same problems. Yeah. So that's what I say. We are a microcosm for the rest of the country. Things we can achieve here can be replicated elsewhere. Yeah. That's one of my things. Food security is my number one issue right now, because my background in public health, but also, I don't want to brag, but I was like 9 days ahead of the news cycle on this. I created a 14-point plan I submitted to 89 congressional aides, policy aides. I submitted to every local newspaper I could in the country, and not many people picked it up, but this is my concern. My second concern is affordability especially in CA, California District 2, but not just affordability I want to improve the youth employment. Like I said in Reading, I'm really here for the 13 to 30-year-olds. Mm-hmm. My nephews are just pushing 30. They're graduating from high school, from college. My friends' daughters, same thing. One's just become a PhD in Utah, and they're just starting their lives out. And look at the mess we're in. We've got to turn things around for them. I'm 61. I'm on my way out. I'm not trying to be on my way out, but it's time. I've always tried to serve the public, but we really need to change things for them, give them a future of hope and security. And I believe we can do that. And I believe it will happen. It looks dark right now, but I think I could just. Well, that's why I was so impressed with the gaming thing, and just talking to JD about his efforts to use gaming to bring people together socially and help with mental health. My aunt, when she taught English and special needs kids in Reading and in Reading, Shasta, basically. And she saw me playing it, and she's like, "What?" And she took my stuff and into her own classroom. She'd let them play and then have them write creative writing about it. I mean, it works. Yeah. It's really a good social thing. It's not like I never got into video games when they came out. mainly because my best friend would kick my butt at them all the time. I just got kind of like, I'm done. I can't play these. He's gone on. He's an amazing tech guy. He actually created cddb.com, I think it was, which became the platform for downloading iTunes and stuff. If you look at, sometimes you can actually see CDDB. He started that, and it was an open source. He had a friend who had like a huge database of music, and he wrote the software to put it into computers. So you could just put your disk in there, download the software, and it would put the songs into your library. So, he's like that kind of guy. And back in the 80s or 70s, really, our multimedia, when the Atari came out, he was after school doing that, programming and stuff. So it just came like a fish in water kind of a thing for him. But that's a sideline. Anyway, my third thing is the wildfire issue and the insurance issue because of climate change. Our forests are tinderboxes. I'm actually going to attend Mendocino. There's a forest. I can't forget its name, but the Cal Fire is coming down there with the task force to interview locals there about opening up the forest. But then on Sunday, I'm blanking on the tribal's name, but the tribes are having a runathon to support their cultural heritage and to make people aware of how spiritual, important that is. And I'd like to meet with both groups to talk about what we can do about if we can at least my idea is environmental stewardship. If we can properly harvest the timber and bring some of that economy back, that would be helpful, but not to destroy the native tribal roots there. It's how do you balance that? I want to go there and figure that out. Like I said, I'm a look and listen tour here.
Gotcha.
I'm not here to tell people I've written my ideas out, but that's to discuss with people, not to say I'm doing it this way.
I gotcha.
Yeah, those are my top three things.
Gotcha. What challenges have you faced on the campaign trail so far? If anything jumps out at you,
just getting the word out. That's why I saw your article. I leaped on it because I need to earn media. I'm here. I have an ulterior motive to meet with you too, but I hopefully I came here to listen and learn from you folks, and but also just tap into my love of gaming. And you provided that with that article. 539 people. My gosh. That would have happened when I was growing up.
Yeah.
We were the geeks and we were ignored and we were
right.
Yeah,
it's gotten a lot better.
Oh, much better. Yeah. That's what I say. I love the community.
Yeah. I'm curious. So you're kind of running on a rural platform for California District 2.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, you've got a bunch of bills and you're talking about this look and listen tour. Like I guess the question is how do you plan to take that rural perspective into account in your in your time in Congress?
Well,
should you get there?
There's a lot of rural districts, Montana, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, big federal, when Teddy Roosevelt set aside the lands, is mainly the West. So there are a lot of rural, a lot of them Republicans, and I'm like I say, I don't pick parties, I pick solutions. That's my goal. Hopefully reach across the aisle, help them, because they used to be able to get along with each other. Now they just can't. So as a no party person, I got no dog in their race. So hopefully I'll be able to talk with them. When I was in Minnesota, I got my degree there, but it's a very rural state. A lot of our states are rural. People just don't seem to realize that. Because the concentrated populations in the cities, they lose track of how much rural we really are. Just driving up here, really, when people think of Marin, they think, wealthy. Well, it's one of the wealthiest counties in the country, but half of it is rural. Really, if you go up from, if you leave Centerville into Fairfax, it starts becoming rural. You have, San Geronimo, then you end up in Point Reyes, which was actually the only pastoral national park in the country. It was determined to be pastoral, not just a national park, by I forget the guy's last name, but Clem was the name of the congressperson there who helped set it up. And John F. Kennedy signed the bill in '62. They basically had been farming there for 150 years, or ranching there for 150 years. And prior to that, the Miwok local tribes had managed it as well, with so it was very pastoral already, with grass, grazing land. And the federal government paid $57 million approximately of that year to purchase that land from them, but gave them perpetual renewable leases. That's how they're going to manage it, through these right of first refusal releases. Now, this is me speculating, but I think in 1978, the property values got so expensive in California, that's why Prop 13 was put into place, that the ranchers had to give up some more autonomy but with 20-year leases then. So the government helped pay those property taxes. Something happened with that. This became too expensive, so then they redid it in '78. A separate law, or a new addendum to the '62 law. Anyway, but then when I started my forest/idea, I was going up, I think it was on the 9th of December, just to interview the ranchers, see, is this a feasible idea? I mean, I don't know if I'm just making stuff in my game, making it up, and I'm not. I have to talk to other people. You have to get, and anyway, they were gone. And it turns out there was a 2025 ROD decision from the National Park Service. The Nature Conservancy came in with $30 million and non-disclosure agreements, and the ranchers are gone. They paid them something. We don't know what it is. There was no public hearings. There was no supplemental NEPA done. And that's when I got really, I mean, this was before I even filed my candidacy. I was upset because that was my, childhood. I mean, Mrs. Terwilliger was an environmentalist or naturalist who would take us up as kids in elementary school up to Point Reyes, and we'd go to all the ranches and the world-class dairies they have up there. It was gone. So I wrote a letter to the editor of Point Reyes Lights. She published that. But then I thought, this is a national park. This affects everyone in the country. This decision, they can do this with oil lease anywhere without any public hearing, any NEPA review, non-disclosure agreements, so the public wouldn't be able to get any information about what was going on because they signed the NDAs. So that to me violates my First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, because if they can't speak and I can't hear what they're saying, that impacts both of us. Mm-hmm. Also, the Nature Conservancy went against, I think, 3 of their own policies, because they tout that that local knowledge is very important. They don't want, because they had some issues in Africa with this. They didn't do any sociological study. They didn't do anything that they said they should do. They said they should do as an organization. And these people are just gone. Well, if they had done a NEPA, they would have found out that H5N1 had jumped from birds to mammals in the cattle. We had to actually quarantine a bunch of our dairy cattle that year. So they just removed all the USDA certified cattle from the Point Reyes, and then they realized you need to have cattle grazing, because that actually abates the invasive species and helps with the fire abatement. So they brought back cattle, but they're not being biosurveyed because they're not USDA certified. They're just grazers. Mm. So if they had done their actual homework and done this properly, we wouldn't be in this mess. Mm. And this was started by Huffman. Huffman made the phone call to invite this, I call it, I think the Press Democrat called it the behind-the-scenes thing. Mm. So this is, at first it was me just being a citizen, but then a candidacy. So it's mixed in with my candidacy now. Mm-hmm. I filed an amicus brief because the Nyman, who's also running, she's awesome. I say she has the dirt under her fingernails. She's a rancher. And she's also an environmental lawyer. And but her and her husband's case is the only thing standing between us and losing that, having that, I call it the Point Reyes precedent, where we allow any person to come in make a deal with the National Park Service without any of our consent or any of our knowledge. Something, this will happen to you. That needs to not happen. That's unconstitutional. It's our public lands. So I started fighting with that. But because the judge denied my amicus brief, I'm backing off. I have a Freedom of Information Act request in that hasn't come yet. Once I get that information, I'll reintroduce the topic again if I can. But right now, I mean, I'm talking to you about it, but it's really right now in Nyman's. She's the one that can fight that right now. I can't. I've done all I can. So now I'm on to other things like, meeting with you folks. What's happening up here? What do you folks need? I know that, again, a lot of my research is just internet research, but I know perhaps you guys need improved broadband, need improved roads to get to need local clinics, need access to health
Yeah,
care.
that's the big one.
Yeah.
I think out of all of the things I've seen from like your website, because I researched you.
Thank
you. I dug around.
I appreciate it.
The rural healthcare aspect you were pointing at is very important. In my experience, I have a lot of people in my life who need specialized care, and we have to go 3 hours either way.
Oh my God.
Maybe Brookings if we're lucky.
I see those big billboards. Like it looks like it's right here, but it isn't. Yeah, it's just
we have a hospital, and it's a, all things considered, it's not a terrible hospital. And I'm not going to say any more about that, Sutter. You're listening. I know you are.
I'm a Kaiser guy, but anyway.
Yeah. Like I've been okay with them, but they don't give everything that people need around here. UIHS is okay, but they can't give you everything you need. There's not specialty practice here, and dental is one of the hardest ones around here too. That's one of the worst.
That's one of the things I put in, is that it was my like, as opposed to taxing and paying. I mean, I would still want to use some of the taxpayer money to kickstart the program, but low interest SBA loans for dentists and health practitioners to set up a shop. If they stay 10 years, forgive the loan, basically, And I'm trying to also work on community college, fairness, just free. I got into my public health program in Minnesota by going to college in Marin and taking my prereqs. Very valuable, excellent education. The community colleges, I think, are very under evaluated. That they're so good. I found really good professors there. That's actually where I became inspired to go into public health, environmental health, infectious diseases. I was studying infectious diseases, and I found out that the CDC, our government, found out there was this thing called the Nipah virus, which is like the Marburg and the Ebola. It's a hemorrhagic fever, had jumped from pigs to humans in Nipah, the country. It's not Indonesia. It's the one that's anyway, it was a small village, and we went in there. We helped people. We found the problem. We provided medical aid to them. And that's an organization I want to work for. That other World Health Organization. And so that's what inspired me, was that. And I got in, and then luckily I became a federal CDC quarantine officer they had a student hire program at the airport there, because it's an international airport. So people come in, and we had to monitor their diseases. So I got very lucky to get into that. They didn't convert me when Obama became president, so I lost that. But that's when I started working on my game. When I lost that position, I wasn't fired. They just didn't convert. They just weren't going to convert at the time. So, yeah. That's I think community colleges are a bedrock of education, not the higher ones. I mean, the higher ones are important, but community college is where it can all be at a foundation.
That makes sense. So I'm going to ask you some political questions that I particularly want to hear about from my potential congressman. What's your stance on women's reproductive rights? Roe v. Wade was just recently overturned, and bodily autonomy is at an all-time low.
I had a friend of mine argue about, it was poorly written, and that's why they took it out. I'm like, the freaking Second Amendment's poorly written. So if you're going to do, I mean, no, we just took away half of our country's rights. And if you really look at the progression of the anti-abortion movement, Nixon was a pro-choice president. It happened under his watch. EPA was under Nixon, a Republican. He helped sign the EPA into existence. At that time, the Republicans were about individual rights. Then along came Reagan, and I learned this from Samantha Bee from The Daily Show. She did a segment on it. The evangelicals had just finished lobbying for the Bob Jones University to not lose its nonprofit status. And when they won, they said, well, now what else do we do? And they got onto the abortion thing. And then Reagan cobbled together the evangelicals because Republicans were losing, Democrats were gaining. And so he put together, it was called a moral majority and all that stuff. And he won 8 years of office. And ever since then, the Republicans have been anti-abortion, fighting. And this is a Supreme Court decision. So now we have a biased Supreme Court. I'm going to say that and third rail it, whatever. But how did that happen? The states' rights issue is powerful. That because a lot of states are still pro-choice, so that's a good thing. But it would, I think, at this point, to get that right back, we'd have to have an amendment. You can write a congressional law, but that can always be over. Like eventually Congress say, "Well, we're not going to have that law," and they can have laws and repeal them and all that. But it would take an amendment, and that needs to happen. Especially, I'm sorry to say, 8 billion people on the planet. Women need to have control over their fertility. If the whole virgin myth, volcano myth, sacrifice the virgin, the whole from the 50s, all those things, that's actually based on our ancestors during times of famine would sacrifice the fertile females because they had to control their population, and that's what Christianity helped stop, and so did Islam actually, and we need to give women their control over their own bodies, their own fertility, because, first of all, one thing I learned, I have almost a master's in education. I just went to Hawaii and taught instead of finishing up my master's, and a master's in public health, and both say, if you support the women, you support civilization, because they're the ones that make sure the kids are fed, the kids are educated, the kids are healthy. Also, in education, it's actually how far the mother goes with her education determines how far the children. It's a very good correlation. So support the women. Even the the Bangladesh called BRAC, they started the microloan program. Women have a 98% return, like they pay back their loans, things like that. So, yes, we used to have to sacrifice fertile women during times of famine because we had to control the population somehow. Brutal as it was, we improved that with the pill and abortion. No one wants to have one, but it should be in their arsenal. It's their choice. That's my stance on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is another hot button one. Where do you stand with regards to like the rampant efforts to criminalize transgender people's lives and remove their health care from them? And
they are we the people. They are we the people. They are we the people. Hopefully the 14th Amendment protects them. Civil rights protects them. But we had the 14th Amendment, and we had to have federal marshals escort African American children to school. We need to protect that. If they, my sister was a pediatrician. Now she's a substance abuse doctor. But it's also, we have to really listen to the medical professionals. It's a very difficult decision for them as well, for the individual who wants to make the change. Is it, the psychology behind it? It's a very complex thing. But to just bash on, it's just, they're human beings. And they have rights. I grew up with body dysmorphia issues. My parents got divorced when I was 13. I gained a lot of weight. That's one reason why I'm not married now. I always was the friend zone. I was always unconscious. I was always felt I didn't fit in with my body. I didn't have a gender issue, but I had a just an attract. I don't know what it was. It was I didn't like my body. I didn't like being in it. So I have an empathy for that. But we need the federal marshals to protect them at this point. That's their civil rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hope that the mental health issue of it, because sometimes young people can jump on a bandwagon. There's certain people that do need that, but some people, I think, there's experimenting. So it's such a hard thing, because when you're finding out what your gender is, you're already, even if you know what it is, you're still awkward and figuring out who you are and where you stand. I mean, we need to be sympathetic, empathetic. Again, listen. I mean, it can include the parents, but it is ultimately that individuals. It's so hard because they're not 18 yet.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the things that have, as far as I'm aware, a lot of the things that are out there that are talking about, they're doing, they're mutilating these kids. They're not. Those surgeries are difficult for adults to get, let alone children.
Yeah.
Like, incredibly, that is the last possible resort, and maybe at 16 at the earliest is that going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe it's another moral majority
I
situation.
was circumcised without my permission. That's a mutilation.
Yeah.
Technically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
Later on, I learned it. But yeah, so I think too many people just want to jump on and don't think things through and don't really sit with the things they're saying. I mean, the whole idea of bathroom problem. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, okay. I think there are, I don't know.
I mean, you're willing to listen and learn.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
That's more than we're getting.
Yeah, and from special education, you make an individual education program for every child in that, and it really would work for general education too, but that's costly. But focus on that. And when in the high school, I would, at that point, you're trying to hand off the meeting to the child, or to the young adult, I should say, because not children anymore, to give them the chance to run their meeting for what they want. Because you got to teach them responsibility and teach them to become an adult. So, but it's a long process, and people want things done fast, and that just when you hurt people, because it's a tough one, but it's got to take time.
Yeah. All right, last big political question I got for you. We can move on to the more fun stuff after this.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, the lighthearted.
Yeah.
Because politics affects everybody.
Yeah.
Why should Del Norte County residents vote for you in particular? Like, how will you better represent us than our current candidates and the fellow candidates on the ballot?
All I can say is I'm letting you know up front what I'm doing, full transparency, and I'm here to, like I say again, listen and learn. I do have a lot of education and a lot of background, but I've most all my public service life have been working with people, not top down telling people what to do. And because there's so many, you represent a community, and I hope I'm a kind of person that different sides can come to me and I can try to help them sort things out. I bring an education, and I bring a true desire to protect everyone's constitutional rights. I just talked to Mr. Smart yesterday. I say, look, we may be born here, and I just quote an American, but unless we support that Constitution, that's the only document holding us together as people, as a united nation. And I bring that ethic here. I was actually asked, would I have an office in Shasta or in Reading if I was voted? And I said, I try to get an office to everyone. I mean, you're right by the ocean. You're right by one of our biggest food sources, and it's dying. And we need to deal with that. So I guess I'm more aware. At least I'm more willing to come up here and talk with you than other. I mean, I don't know. I can't talk with them. They may show up here after me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
well, you beat them to it.
Yeah.
At least with KFUG and Redwood Voice.
Right.
Can't speak to the triplicate.
I guess I mean, I work hard. I think about things, and I've always served the public in my professions. Even when I was a clinical engineer for a private company, I was working on a device that would help people. That's why you should pick me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Tagline that. Cut it. Perfect. And now I'm gonna nail you to the wall about Evolution Earth.
Okie doke.
Yeah. Here we go. So you have 2 dice rolling systems in the GM manual or the game engineer manual, and I'm curious. 1, why did you pick the ones you went with? And then 2, how do the stats affect the Erlarin crystal resolution system?
Right. I never could get this beta. I tried. I paid. I did a what's it called? It's that gig.
Fiverr?
Fiverr. I got someone to actually play test it, and she suggested an alternative system that was similar to the more modern gaming dice rolls. So Erlarin was just an idea of an alien thing, but
right?
So so she helped me develop that particular one. So it was an add-on.
Gotcha.
Generally, it was basically 2d20s for attacking from. Okay, here's my history with it. We were playing since '76, right? So we had the box set, then we moved up to the AD&D books, and then in '83, my friends created we didn't like the magic system because we felt the wizards were way more powerful than the warriors, because you 10 segments and they can do like 5 spells before you get to swing one sword.
Yeah, you've got like linear progression. You got logarithmic. Yeah.
So we didn't like that, and we didn't like the fact that treasure was experience points because we would. You ever heard of Ardwin Grimoire? Dave Hargrave.
I feel like I've heard these names and
he
floating
actually,
over my head.
He actually was a Vietnam photographer, or he was in the military, but he was, and he made this really, I kind of think it's a precursor to Pathfinder because he included certain things like blunderbuss and other non-medieval weaponry in there and some other things. And he had this huge thing called it was a critical hit chart. And it was brutal. The descriptions were pretty good because he saw the limbs and he was very graphic. But my friends and I were playing AD&D, and another friend came in, and he was coming from the Ardwin Grimoire thing, and he would just kill all the party members at the end so he'd get all the treasure and get all the experience. And we thought that isn't that's just basic, greed. And so we separated. We redid the experience points where you just get experience for the level of the monster or the hit dice or the level of the person you've defeated. And so we lowered the count, obviously, because you're getting the bazillions on the treasure charts, but we just lowered it to a certain. My friends are both mathematicians, and so I think we have a better. We developed a better experience system and a better magic system where the combat it's a 4-segment melee. You roll surprise. If you don't get surprised, you roll initiative. If you get the initiative, you get the first segment to do something and the last segment, and then the other party gets the 2 middle segments to do something.
Got it.
So a magic missile is a 1-segment spell, but a fireball is 3 segments. So it might take you a whole other melee before your fireball goes off, and then you got to worry about, are your friends in the way of it? Things like that. So but also the fighter could hit the magic user. So you want to protect your magic user. with
Yeah.
the fighter. Things like that. We did that.
It seems very fastidious in
Yes.
like its complexity.
Yes, and that's where I'm coming from, and that's
Gotcha.
probably one of my Achilles heels, complexity. But I grew up with this. This is what we did,
Right.
and we're still doing it. So I included that into my game. I got my
Gotcha.
permission from my friends to include that particular combat system, and for my mental, I call it. I'm 61. I'm blanking all these damn terms. Instead of mana, I use psyche points.
Yeah, psi points, yeah.
Psi points. Yeah. And so I incorporated that system into it. So the Ilaran dice was just a way to, I guess, modernize the dice system for more people here. But I kept the old one as well.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And again, never beta tested it. Said no what to remove.
Yeah, because I was looking at that system, and that system does feel elegant in its like degrees of success kind of situation. But I'm trying to figure out how the stats like connect to it, and if that's in there anywhere, or if that's kind of sort of an afterthought, I guess.
It's basically like the old AD&D. You roll 3 dice 6, and you get your stat. And if you have a high stat, you get the bonus.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
because when I was reading the book, it told me to roll a d20 for stats, like just straight up a d20.
Oh, I did that.
Okay.
I
Cool.
changed it. I didn't want to just copy and paste from AD&D, so I said, yeah, why not just up to 20? You can be a strength, because numbers are. I mean, you can once you ascribe something to the number, yeah. But I'm not a mathematician, so I don't know if it works or not. But that's why I was trying to get away from the 3 to 8. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I tried to roll up a character last night.
I'm sorry.
Hey, no, I got decently far, but I realized that I don't think my character can exist.
Okay.
Because she has a 4 agility, and almost every class that I read has a like 10 agility top.
Thank you for that. I don't know how to fix that, but I'd fix it.
Yeah, I get it. And I think part of it, and maybe this is me playing games for a little bit, and just maybe making the cap like 1 stat instead of like 3, because I noticed a lot of the classes have like 3. You have to have this score, this score, this score.
Yeah.
Maybe just 1. I don't know. That's my thought on it. But
Hey, you're the modern gamer. I'm the old school gamer, and it does seem that they've streamlined a lot more stuff. We still love we have the books where we're playing, and we don't really play with miniatures. We always use our imagination and that kind of thing.
That was a question I was going to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't afford them as kids, so we never got into them. And they were all lead, so you really shouldn't be playing with lead figurines when you're a kid. But my favorite one though, I had a Balrog. That was awesome. I don't know what happened to it, but it was a big lead Balrog. But we never could afford it, basically, so we just use our imaginations for the distances and all that stuff.
I think my first figurines were pewter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when my dad got me a war game, and then it got lost in the shuffle, but that was a fun one.
I used to build models, and then
we do a lot of that around here. Build all sorts of
I used to
interesting
do
things.
dioramas, and our local toy store would have these contests. I won once, but it was fun. But yeah, so I was actually doing that based on the old AD&D. You'd have a ranger would have to have a certain wisdom and a certain strength and a certain dexterity to be a ranger. So I based it on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I guess if you played AD&D, the book will be broadly more understandable.
Right. The original AD&D.
Right. AD&D.
Because again, they
Straight
streamline
up.
over time. 5e is much more streamlined.
Oh,
than
yeah.
One. And I'm old codger, what are the grognard?
Yeah, grognard.
Yeah, I'm a grognard.
Gotcha.
And I've been playing with the same guys. I mean, right now he's in one's in Finland and my other one's in Oakland, so I can go to his house and play with the guy in Finland. Our guy up in Oregon, he's retired and he's just his retiree things, so he doesn't play as often as he does play with us, but not as often.
Gotcha.
We've been playing since
12
years old.
Hey,
and it's wonderful.
That's right around when I started. When I was about 12, I picked up GMing and I made my own system. And then I looked at the system later and I'm like, hey. Oh yeah, that was built when I was 12.
This was built when I was 52. So
hey,
I have no excuses.
Yeah, you got me. Hey, you got me beat. And a lot of it, it's very idiosyncratic. I can see you in it. I can. You're very legible within the book. But something I wanted to ask about a session of Evolution Earth is like what kind of is the loop? You go into a dungeon and find something, or the crypts, if memory serves.
I wrote a book. I gave you that book.
Yeah, the novel.
The novel. Really, it's about Earth has been so destroyed in this interstellar war.
Mm-hmm.
It's really focusing on environmental rebuilding of our ecosystems.
Mm-hmm.
The first, the one I've actually played, the module I made, was about a small town on the edge. There's a huge earthquake and it destroys all their solar panels. So they need to find a source of energy to run their water desalinators to water their crops. And they send out, and they're ursted, so a lot of them are bears. Because you can play any. It's not just humans. All species have become sentient. That's one of the other things. You can play a bird character. I'm just hoping that would inspire people. So there's no races. There's just species.
Yeah, because I was reading through that, and there's a lot. You really got into the weeds on like writing a bunch of them out, and I'm like, wow.
I want to give people choices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And maybe off the record, I have thoughts on exactly how to open that up even more, because when I looked at it, it was overwhelmed. I was like, but that's I remember when I was writing a lot of RPG stuff for 5e, which was the game I started on. I would just get so deep into it. And
Well, I mean, if you look at the Shadow Realm,
Shadowrun, Pathfinder.
but
Lancer.
the actual realm.
Oh, the realm.
I mean,
yeah.
If all those, Gygax himself did all these deep, intricate modules. The Vault of the Drow, Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah.
So those are more dungeon crawls. Mine's less of that. I mean, there's okay. So the module I made, this expedition goes out and disappears, and the magistrate's son, magistrar, is missing. So then the characters I create for the run, they have their own levels and everything and their powers, are being brought in to try and find this group, and they go out, and there's been this big earthquake, and they discover this old, I call them ancestors, because people that built the stuff, an old plant that would make solar panels and stuff like that. But there's all these creatures that have taken over from the crypts. These are all abominations, and there's all these things that have come up after this big cataclysm that destroyed Earth and destroyed the other planet that we're at war with. And so you dungeon crawl that thing, and ultimately what you find is that there's this environmentalist who has gone addicted to worm. I took this from Dune. Worm. Cerebral fluid. It's also from Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Because it increases her psyche power, but she becomes addicted to it. So she's chasing this worm, and she does an earthquake because as an environmentalist she can do that. And so basically, I have a healer as part of the party, and one of the keys is to heal her. So she doesn't do this. You can kill her if you want. I mean, it's
RPG.
choices. But there's always I try to at least have a positive opening. I also, in my system, said that if you defeat but don't kill, you get double the experience. So to try to, because we're bloodthirsty, we're 1A men. If you kill that thing, you get its treasure, you get experience.
Every single game I have run has had an arson occur at least once during the progress of the events. I did not put arson in their arsenal. Right. They would just do it. There's only one time I've ever put arson, like I've done it. Every other time, players have initiated it. They're like, here you go. We'll light this on fire.
I mean, we're pretty, but recently, I'm playing a very high level monk cleric. Oh God, we got stuck in the abyss for so long, like 10 years of game time in the abyss. We're finally out, but we're in Jotunheim. And, but when people complain about, they're too high powered, my DM, he kicks our butt every game with challenges. We just met this huge ice dragon. We talked our way out of it. We didn't fight that thing. And we even had these spears with dragonoid control. But I'm like, that's not going to work. This is like a god. This isn't a regular dragon. So things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. we got experience for not fighting.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
hey.
we do that. But yeah, we
Okay.
could have tried to subdue it, but it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But so I like games that make you think. It's not just a crawl through
Mm-hmm.
room by room. It's a story you're sharing,
Yeah.
and it changes with everyone at the table.
Mm-hmm. Everyone puts their hand on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
does arson. And
Yeah.
you're like, ah!
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think the worst thing that happened to my character, he hates this. He got his brain and his memories sucked by an aboleth.
Mm.
Luckily, he got brought back with a wish,
Yeah.
but he hates this aboleth. Well, we killed the aboleth, but still, its whole
Yeah.
his whole soul is out there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's things like that.
Yeah.
Life, you can be resurrected and return to dead. So dying is a problem. You don't want to do it, but you can bring it back. But
Mm-hmm.
certain things you just care more about than life and death.
Yeah, I get that. I had a character who lost an arm, and that ruined her. She's like, I'm done. I'm done, because her whole bit was she was this elf, like the last of a line, and she lost a part of her body, and
Yeah.
she's like, that's my family. It's gone, and everyone's like, why are you tripping out about this? I'm like, you don't understand.
It's just me. I just got
Yeah, yeah, and it was a wound table roll that ended up happening, and yeah.
I actually had a character repair armless dwarf. She had one armed dwarf. She was a artificer, so she couldn't do her artificing. And we got this. My friends got this weird, this weird freaking place. We're on Neptune now, I think. He's actually got us going to the ether, then going planet to planet, and the dwarves are mining these different planets for this thing called the cog, which runs everything and controls magic. And so the cog is broken, and so magic is all crazy. But anyway, we found this regenerative stuff that was really more for radiation, but I gave it to her and it grew her arm back.
Yeah.
Now she's happy.
Hey, yeah, that's something.
It was regeneration because it didn't have I'm only like 4th level, but we found that. I said, hey, take this.
Yeah. We called down gods. We
Okay.
got like an arm and everything, but none of them could be the arm. It was all like, oh, we pulled it from a dead elf who fell off a cliff, or it was like a robotic arm. I'm like,
No, this is
no.
It's a complete being you're talking about.
Yeah, and she was like cleric of the storm. The elves in that world were very unusual for elves. They weren't necessarily the like, whoo. They were like, I live in the snow and I will kill you.
My friend Dungeon, he's got some pretty interesting. I'm playing a wood elf ranger in that one. I don't think basically he was doing a one-on-one game with my other friend, and then I just joined and I took over an NPC character that I sometimes play, whatever. And I don't think he likes the way I play her because I'm like, what are you? We're being attacked. He said it in like 1492 times when the Portuguese and the Spanish were coming over, but it's elves,
Right?
And they're killing us. And I'm like, we got to fight back. And the elves were like, oh, we got to think of this. Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then she's a ranger, so she's like giant kind, right? So I'm slaughtering all these giants. And he's like, you're just killing all the baby giants. It's a evil baby giant. But anyway, things like that.
Yeah.
I toned her down a bit, but at one point it was like, it's a giant. Bam.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming and interviewing and talking with me.
And thank you for having me. This is heaven.
Yeah. I think this is the favorite job that I think I've ever had. I've been very lucky to have this as my job. But where can people find you? I know your website. It's GregoryBurgessForCongress.com.
Or voteroar.com. Vote-roar. That's my original one, but then you got to put your name out there.
Right.
ROAR stands for Restore Our American Republic.
Gotcha. And that's Roars and Lions Roar for people listening.
Yeah.
I'll probably put that link in the short brief.
It directs to GregoryBurgessForCongress.com.
Gotcha.
Is my primary.
It'll bounce the URL to it.
Right. Perfect. And I'm sorry for that. Again, over-complex. I started out with actually I wanted to say restore our rural sovereignty, but that sounded a bit too separatist.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I want to show how important the rural America really is. We need to get back and rebuild it because it's our food security. It's our bedrock.
Yeah. You hear that? You hear that here, folks? Delaware County is the bedrock of America. Act like it. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks for listening.